Terry Jones Jr., I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to T-Town. I hope all is well.
It's all well. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much. And we were talking about it. I teased it as we were going into your segment that your father owns a jewelry store here in Tuscaloosa. I am correct about that, right?
Yeah, he got a small jewelry store. Like I said, he's been there since '92, so every national championship, SEC championship, he's been a part of it. And like I said, his jewelry box keeps getting bigger and bigger, and wish we could have added three more this year, but we got some time to get that number 18.
No doubt about it. I always love to see him as one of those historical members at the University of Alabama. He played here as well. Let's get an update on exactly what you're up to these days. Give us an update on your life.
Like you said, once I got done playing football, me and my wife moved over here to Georgia, and I'm currently the head football coach over at South Cobb High School. It's a school that's in Cobb County. It's kind of like a little bit outside of the city of Atlanta. But like I said, I've been enjoying it. It's going into my second year of being the head coach, and just kind of trying to change the culture of the school and change the culture of the team, and like I said, and trying to win some games in the process and send some kids out to school.
Coach Jones, what is the most rewarding part of coaching young men and watching them in such a crucial period of time?
One of the most rewarding things is kind of once they get a little older and they done playing ball and they start having their families, and I see them, like I said, I see them at the store, or I see them on Facebook, or I talk to them there, but like, hey man, Coach, I appreciate you, what you did for me in high school. I appreciate you staying behind me. I appreciate you, like you said, pushing me, do whatever I have to do to make sure I stay out of trouble, because where I am today, I wouldn't be there. And this kind of stuff I learned from my dad, because my dad is the father to countless amount of student athletes that come to the University of Alabama, male and female. And like I said, I just try to replicate some of the things that he did while he's still there doing it, and I'm just trying to do it on the high school level.
But it has to be probably one of the most rewarding professions that you could ever be a part of, because if you go back, it's sort of like it's a loop, right? Someone impacted your life as a coach, and now you're having a chance to pay that forward, and now you're impacting so many other great lives.
It is, and like you said, it's one of the things. Like you say, we don't in high school we don't really do it for the money. Like you said, you out here trying to make sure that, and similar to what Dabo said, like you said, he said it all the time. Like you said, if my young men leave as a better person, that's what my job is for. Like I said, win and losses will come. Like I said, the game of football will come. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to build these. When I get them, they 13 and 14-year-old teenagers, kids. And when they leave me, they're 18-year-old, 19-year-old young men. So I'm just trying to prepare them for all the things in life that's going to come, good and bad, and just trying to give them the blueprint, because the plan is not going to always be the same for every child. So I'm just trying to instill some of the wisdom that I learned throughout the years and some of my assistant coaches, and just hopefully I can get them enough tools to be successful when they step foot out of South Cobb High School.
We're talking to Terry Jones Jr. right now, as he talked about coaching there at South Cobb High School. He played at the University of Alabama. He was a team captain here, a legacy player. His father is still part of the athletic staff at the University of Alabama. Terry, when you look, because you and I are similar in age, and it kind of keeps me young by hanging out with some of the youngsters that I do on the radio show. Like, I learn the terminology, because things that were cool back when, you and I were growing up were not as cool now. Like, I say things and they look at me like, you are crazy. Yeah. You're nuts.
Yeah.
Do you have to kind of relate to them and kind of go to their level a little bit?
I do. Like I said, I was talking to my wife the other day, and like, she don't understand how I know a lot of the songs that the kids understand and play nowadays. But I tell them, I'm around teenagers all day. I can't play the stuff I played back when I was a teenager. They're not going to enjoy it. So I get a chance to learn some of their music, some of their terminology. Like I say, but you have to. That's kind of just related to the kids. Because when I'm able to kind of listen to the kids, what they're talking to, and kind of understand what they're saying, then when I speak of stuff, they're going to sit down and listen. I can get their undivided attention.
When you look at what's happening at the University of Alabama, and I want to remove the last 10 days, okay, but we're looking at what Nick Saban has been able to accomplish as an alum of this program, that you've had a chance to wear that crimson jersey. What is the sense of pride that you show as you look at what Alabama's been able to accomplish under Coach Saban?
Man, what he's done since he came in there, I think it was almost, 12 years ago? I'm not even, like.
Yeah, he's going into year number 13, 12 years he's been here.
12 years. Like, just like you said, not even talking about the wins or losses. You can talk about the Nick Saban effect that's happened to the university as far as culture, as far as, like you said, people in all sports loving to want to represent Alabama. Because before, Alabama was just a football school, but now you can see, like you said, and we had gymnastics, but you can tell he has amplified the sports at Alabama. He made the basketball team, made them start to be more competitive. Women's basketball, making them get competitive. Like you said, women's gymnastics starting to keep at the level they are and starting to improve. And like I said, and just with the student athletes, getting them to graduate. Like I said, we was already kind of a household brand, but it kind of like people put it to the back shelf. Kind of like those old pair of jeans that kind of starting to come back around. But now people starting to see the trademark, trying to see what Alabama football is all about, and kind of know that, like you said, we back on it. We coming back up, and like I said, the last 10 days haven't been great, but it's still awesome to see what he does year in and year out when he's losing 5, 6 first-round picks, 2 or 3 coaches every year, and this year's unprecedented amount of coaches that's left, but kind of see that the process and kind of seeing like the maturation process of him going through, and like I said, just kind of molding that ball to clay every year. And like I said, this is the 13th year, and like this masterpiece is not gonna look like last year's masterpiece. And like I said, it's just, I admire what he does. It's, like I said, it's hard to do that with 18 to 21-year-old young men every single year. So, but he got a good staff behind him. He got good guys that's behind him that's doing what they have to do and helping them out be successful.
You know, sometimes I have this personal debate, and, you know, we're 14-1. We won the SEC title, but the expectation here is to win a national title. For one, it's good to reach that standard, that this championship or bust type season, but it's almost unfair that we hold them to that standard in some ways.
It is, but it's not. Like, but that's the standard where Bear Bryant was here. Sure. That's the standard of Alabama, and like I said, when I played there and we were going through our transition, we had some good years and bad years where, like I said, the standard wasn't that high. But when he got there, he set the standard back to where Bear had it, and that's Alabama football. And you can't, like I said, most people, the standard is Alabama, but our standard is perfection. And he wouldn't want it any other way, I can guarantee you. Like I said, if we sat down and had a drink with him, he'll want it the same way, because he wants his kids to strive for perfection, not worry about the scoreboard, and just kind of just keep plugging at it. And at the end of the day, like I said, it'll speak for itself.
Well, I asked him one time about the championships. I said, Coach, do you ever have a chance to reflect on what you've been able to accomplish? And he looked at me, and he gave me a bitter look, and I was like, oh, Lord, I've said something incorrect. I thought I was fixing to get one of those chewings that he talks about quite often. And he goes, no, I think about the teams that didn't win a championship and the teams that didn't accomplish. I mean, I was like, whoa, I'm just asking you to reflect on the championships. But immediately, and I guess that's what separates the great ones. They fear losing more than they like to win.
Yeah, but like I said, it's just with the losing, like I say, most coaches are professionals. Like I said, I've learned this. Like I said, the guys I worked through high school, like I said, those guys are professionals. Guys I played under. Football coaches are professionals, and not just football coaches, all athletic coaches. And so when you win the championship, you're still thinking about the thing that you could have done better, but you find a way to overcome it. But when you lose a game and you miss a step from a championship, it makes you work that much harder to focus in on those mistakes, so that those things won't happen again.
We're talking to Terry Jones Jr. He played his high school football right there on 15th Street. The Falcons Central High School graduate, All-SEC player at the University of Alabama. He's captain of his senior season here at the University of Alabama. Terry, I do have to ask you about the style of play that you play there at South Cobb High School. Do you throw to the tight end?
I do try to throw to the tight end. That's like I say, I have a good place in my heart for tight ends. at the school I was before at Grady High School, I had a tight end that I sent to Louisville that played there, and I tried to find a way to feed him the ball as much as possible.
Gotcha.
And so I try to find ways to put the tight end, but I'm gonna tell you, tight ends are a dying breed. Like I said, Irv was a great one, but Irv is kind of like one of those flash guys. Like the tight end position is not dying; it just kind of changed into something else. But like I said, being a tight end is a dying breed nowadays. Everybody got either you're a receiver or a linebacker or you're a running back. There's not that many in between guys because most of them playing basketball like I did.
Yeah, let me ask you about 82. That was a pretty good number for you. It was a pretty good number for Irv Smith. What do you see in this young man as he makes the transition from the college game to the pro game?
Like I think he's gonna transition well because, like you said, the NFL game suits his attributes, suits the things that he does well. Like I said, he can go out there, he can catch the ball extremely well, run great routes. Like I said, he's a willing blocker, and that's one of the things that most people don't get a chance to see. All they worry about is the touchdown catches and all the highlight stuff. But the kid will go back there and he's going out there and he'll get a chance to block people, and that's one of the things that will give him opportunity to play early in his NFL career. And those are kind of things that'll keep him playing for a very long time.
When you look at the direction of college football, when you talk about the style of play, and I'm talking about offensively, are you one of those guys that you embrace the change? Do you like it, or is there part of it that maybe you miss the kind of power football and downhill running?
I'm kind of on the fence a little bit.
Okay.
Like I said, because I'm an offensive coordinator, so we try to play with tempo and spread people out, but it takes away from some of the physicality of football. And those teams, especially in high school, they still play that way. People don't always understand, why they're successful, but it's just being physical. Just like in the NFL playoffs. Like I said with Kansas City, they ain't threw 18,000 touchdowns this year. But like I said, at the end of the day, if you can't run the ball and play defense, you're not gonna make it. And I understand, like I said, the 4 teams that their defensive statistics are not as high as some of the other great defenses, but if you can't run the ball and play defense, you're not going to be successful. And a lot of these spread offenses are physical. It's just kind of just changing the window dressing. And it's just like all the football. People went from running the wing tee to the wishbone to the eye. Now the flavor of the week is running the spread offense.
You ever feel sorry for those defensive side of the footballs with all these RPOs?
I don't.
I knew you were going to say that.
I don't because I feel bad as a head coach because my defense is put in bind. But defensive coaches, like I said, I admire all defensive coaches because they find a way to stop offense. Everybody, the wing tee was the greatest thing ever. The wishbone was the greatest thing ever. But defensive coaches, because they're so creative, and they, like you said, they come up with different ways. They're going to come up with a way to stop the RPO. They're going to come up with a way to slow it down. Nick Saban came up with ways to slow down the RPO. But, like I said, but feeling sorry for, I don't feel sorry for me. Like, it's another extension of the game.
Terry, when you're around your teammates, Jason McCadley, Andrew Zhao, some great guys that you played with here, and I could go on and on about the players that played here. What's the stories that you guys share? What's a memory that maybe sticks out that you guys talk about?
Man, like I said, a lot of the memories just kind of like hanging out in the locker room, things we did, like I said, hanging out at the apartment complex, and like I said, just those good times, like the SC championship, the opportunity to go down to Miami and play in the Orange Bowl, those type of games. Me and Zal, like I said, whenever we get together, we always talk about the Independence Bowl. And like I said, that throwing catch that we made to get the opportunity to win that game. And like I said, when you get around those guys, a lot of the time it's not about football. It's just kind of just being around the guys and laughing and having good times and thinking about the times when we all was a lot younger than what we are now.
I got you. Hey, final question. I want to go back to because we love to talk about Coach Bryant, the history of Alabama football. growing up around your father that was a legacy player here at the University of Alabama, went on to play for the Green Bay Packers, is there something, a lesson that he passed down that you just heard a lot about? You heard a lot about Coach Bryant in a certain message. Maybe it was a lifelong lesson that he taught you from your history perspective, growing up around your father and playing for Coach Paul Bear Bryant. Was there a lesson that was passed down that you look back and it was tied back to Coach Bryant?
Man, there are so many, like you said, with my dad. But one of the things that one of the things he always talked about is kind of, you always start what you finish, regardless of what it is. And like I said, I can remember when I was younger, I tried to try to go play baseball, and I was out there for a couple of times. I couldn't catch on to it, and I was gonna, like I said, quit. We're like, no sir, we don't do quitters. That's not what we do in this high school. If you started, you're gonna finish it. And the same thing came with when me getting ready to start to play basketball and playing football, and when I got injured when I was at university. Like I said, when I tore my ACL the second time, I was like, I'm done. And he was like, you started, you're going to finish it. And those are kind of things that, like I said, Coach Brian kind of instilled in him, and my grandparents, his mom and dad, like I said, kind of being out in the country in Washington County, like I said, you're going to start what you finish. You're not going to sit here and we're not going to develop quitters. And those are kind of same things I try to instill in my own kids. I got an 8 and my youngest will be 7 on Super Bowl Sunday. So, like I said, I try to instill those same values into them and to the kids I've been coaching over the last 11 years.
Did you even have a choice? Did you even flirt with another school, or you knew that Dad wasn't going to take anything but crimson and white?
I'm saying, to be honest, my dad did not force me to go to the University of Alabama. He told me, like I said, wherever you're going to go, I'm going to sit there, I'm going to cheer you on 110%. Whatever sport you wanted to play, because I had opportunities to go play basketball. Like I said, me and my mom took a visit to Indiana when Bobby Knight was still there, and I got a chance to talk to the football coaches. And like I said, I flirted with Georgia Tech a little bit, because actually I wanted to get out of Tuscaloosa, to tell you the truth. Like I said, just me growing up there and my dad being there, I didn't know how me and my dad would meet with me being in college. But thanks to Dabo Sweeney, because like I said, he's one in Ronnie Cottrell, those two guys kind of came and recruited me, because I told my dad, because they just assumed that I was going there too. And I told my dad, I was like, if they don't recruit me like everybody else, I'm not going to come. I don't care where I go, I won't come. And then when he went back and told those guys that, like I said, Dabo started coming out and recruiting me and started talking about me and coming out there and treating me like every other recruit. And that's why I fell in love with Alabama and fell in love with Dabo and the university. And that's one of the decisions. I'm glad that I didn't try to go against my dad that time, and I chose the University of Alabama, because the University of Alabama been great to me and my whole entire family.
No doubt about it. So Dabo recruited you. He was in charge of recruiting you.
Yep, he like he was one of the guys that came and talked to me, because and helped come on. Like I said, he made that short trip across over there by 15th Street Diners and came on to 15th Street and helped bring me on over.
Right there, a product of Central High School. Terry, and I said it was the last question. Did you win a championship at Central? Because I was thinking about all the great teams that you guys had there on 15th Street, man. Y'all used to kick butt and take names.
We did. I came in because I didn't start playing football until my junior year in high school, so they won the state championship my sophomore year. So, like with Marvin Constant, one of my teammates that went on to Alabama, he was part of that team that sophomore year. They had Antonio Williams that came on as an Alabama signee. Kev Baylor was on that squad. There was also an Alabama signee. I think Jason Jones was there too. But yeah, no, I didn't get a chance to win a state championship in high school. I missed it by a year. That junior year, we had a great opportunity to get a chance to win that year, but we lost to Mount Brook in like the quarterfinals. But nah, I wish I did, and then I know they won one a couple years later. After I was out of college.
Gotcha. Well, certainly it's been a powerhouse program there on 15th Street.
Yeah.
Coach, well, thank you again for being a part of our show. We love to be able to throw it back and talk about old times, but it's also good to catch up and hear about the success that is happening there. The head coach is South Cobb High School, Terry Jones Jr., helping us out. We appreciate you sharing some memories with us of Alabama Crimson Tide football, and we'll stay in touch, and hopefully we can get you back on in the future. Thank you again.
Hey, thank you again anytime.